Hey y'all, Melissa here with you today, and today we're going to talk about fitting pants. Now the video you're about to see was originally shot on Facebook Live, and because of that the quality is not as good as I wish it could be, and it's also a little more rambling and conversational than the things I usually share on this channel. However, I thought there was enough good information in there to go ahead and share it. And because it is a little more rambly and because some of the things are a little harder to see than I wish they were, I've also written an accompanying blog post with still images and more detail. So I'm really going to encourage you to visit the link below, click through to that, and look at some of these still images to help you fit pants to yourself.
And she's going to be heading over here momentarily, and today we're going to do some pants fitting stuff. Yay! So this seems to be the bane of sewists everywhere, but it doesn't have to be, as long as you know how to read a few clues, and that's what we're gonna do. Melissa's made up several muslins. This is actually based on the Forsyth trousers that are in the Blank Slate Pattern shop. And they're an elastic waist bottoms pattern, but they're not super close fitting like jeans, but they're not also like baggy like sweatpants either. So they're somewhat fitted. You can see the tips and stuff like that in those. Okay.
Yeah, so good morning. Yeah, the pants fitting is why I am wearing this lovely outfit on camera today. And I think we're going to start with actually talking about how to evaluate your figure a little bit before you even start sewing your pants. So that's another reason I chose this pair that has the stripes on them. So a couple of things. If you, this is a good way to start, and you need to be able to just like objectively look at yourself in the mirror to look for ways to fit yourself without judging. And I know that's really hard to do because you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, I wish I could fix that. I wish I could fix that. And so you need to like shut that part of your brain off and then just look at what figure things are going on so that you can fit the pants to flatter them and to be comfortable for you to wear. So if I stand to the side, and actually standing and looking from the side is one of the best ways to do this when you're looking at yourself. You can see that, first of all, I've got a lot more in the back than I do in the front. That's just the way my figure is built. You can see on these stripes here a little bit, or I hope you can see, that, we'll let Susan evaluate. You could tell that I've got a little more prominence in my front thigh here, and I'm assuming that's because I run, and so there's a musculature there. And another thing you can see, and again, I think it's also because of the running, I've got kind of prominent calves. Like even, I'm not standing with my knees locked right now, but you can see that like my calves kind of stick out as far as my rear does. And that can affect your pants fit too. So I'm going to put on the first muslin here, and we're going to show you what they should fit like, what they should look like when you're wearing pants that fit properly.
So one of the things that's helpful here is to see, you know, like I said, we were using the block from the Forsyth trousers, but this way you can tell, you know, how these pants are designed to fit. Again, not as snug as jeans. They are elastic waist, so you'll see a lot of gaping around the edges and the top and that kind of thing. And so assuming that they have elastic, what we're looking for here is the correct fitting crotch curve and then, you know, in the thighs and the butt, that kind of thing.
Okay, so you'll notice that on this muslin, I just did the front, the back, and I did it to about my knee here. I didn't actually sew the whole thing. You don't have to sew the whole thing. I eliminated the pockets that are on the pattern. Can you get the back leg stuck in? And I didn't put the waistband on it. Now, I'm wearing a shirt that has an elastic waistband, and I wore it for this reason because I can use it to hold up the pants so that I can evaluate the fit. You can also just get a piece of elastic and tie it around your waist, and then kind of you distribute the fullness to make sure that you're seeing what they'll look like when they have the elastic inserted. So the front here, the fit is pretty good. I do have a little bit of the smile line, and that's because I maybe need a teeny bit more room right here. Personally, that's that thigh prominence.
One of the things to keep in mind, pants aren't necessarily as intuitive sometimes, especially since we're used to fitting tops and fitting busts and things like that. So the lines don't necessarily mean all the same things as far as the adjustments to make, but the lines do tell us a lot. Sometimes they'll point to where the adjustment needs to be, or like she was saying with the horizontal lines right here, it's because it's being stretched a little bit tighter across that spot.
You can actually see there's a little bit of fullness right here, and I think what's going on is that my figure needs that raised up just a teeny bit.
Because your fullest part is a little different than the block.
Right, right. So it's because I'm shorter than the block that I draft for. So so those are some clues. Also recognize that you cannot and you should not get every single wrinkle out of pants. Some of those wrinkles are there in some positions so that you can sit down. Like if you don't have some of the wrinkles in the back, you won't have room to bend your knees and sit in the pants. Yes. So we're looking at certain ones, and that's probably what we're going to be showing you. So let me turn around and you tell them about the back.
Okay, so in the back, what we're looking for is making sure, and this is what Melissa was talking about, if she didn't have this under, like a little bit of that ease under her butt, she wouldn't be able to sit down. So it'd be great for pants that are for standing and walking around, but that's as much as you could do. So what we're looking for here is that you can see that, the pants aren't giving her a wedgie, so it's fitting the back good, and there's no necessarily like drag lines going from her hip to the inside of her thigh or to the bottom of her crotch. So this is what we're generally looking for. You have to bear in mind that this is muslin fabric, so a bottom weight fabric is gonna look a lot better, obviously, and a lot of this stuff coming from up here is because the elastic is not in the pants. But the crotch looks really good. The back of the legs looks really good. There's no weird, funky drag lines anywhere. Okay, so we'll show you a couple now that don't fit the way that they should fit for Melissa's body. And they'll show a couple of those drag lines. These are the most common things you're potentially going to see if you make up a muslin for a pair of pants. And these are the changes that most people do have to make.
One other thing I want to point out as we're putting this on, notice that the crotch needs to be touching your body. If the crotch is, down here, it might look like it fits, but it really doesn't, and you're going to feel that when you try to walk or when you try to sit. So,
and they won't stay in that spot.
The very first thing, you need to make sure the crotch is actually touching your body. It doesn't need to be wedgied all up in there, but it does need to be touching.
And so this is, speaking of wedgie, this is an example. Do you want to do the first? I guess you want to do the front first, or?
Oh, well, the front doesn't look too bad.
Okay. Okay, so in this case, the front does have some smile lines. So that is indicative of some potential issues in the crotch that we'll talk about. The back is pretty bad, though. For one thing, I can't even get it up to where it needs to be for her waistline, which means it's definitely not long enough for her butt. If it were to come up there, which I'm not going to do, it would be giving her a serious wedgie. So she definitely,
Let's time out because I want to show them something.
Okay.
So you see these smile lines in the front. One of the things I'm going to check when that back isn't coming up is check where the front crotch point is ending. And this is ending further back than that other pair that I'm wearing. So let me show you something here. If I adjust this
put it where the right spot should
and put the front crotch in the right place, those smile lines have gone away in the front, but I bet the back is probably worse.
Well,
now.
and so that's the kind of thing you have to look at on the muslin, is because it was doing that because I was trying to get the back in the right place back here. But when she got the front as it should be, so the front crotch curve now fits her as it should for her body, then the back is bad. The back won't even go up to where it needs to for her waist, and we still have a ton of issues. All of these lines pointing right inside to the end of the crotch curve show us that she does not have enough room there. So again, even though we'll show you the alteration, how to get her there in a minute, and that's maybe less intuitive, but the drag lines still are intuitive. You can see they're pointing straight to where the issue is. So, okay.
And this is where Susan was saying pants are a little not intuitive. You would think, okay, I've got all these, it's not long enough in the back, I've got these drag lines, the pants are too tight. These pants are not too tight. I've got room in the hips here.
Even though they look too tight in the back, at the bottom of your butt, they're not.
And even though they would probably feel really bad if I tried to sit down.
Right.
This is an issue here with they're not wide enough from here to here for my body. they're plenty wide like all the way around. They're not wide enough here to here, and that's the crotch curve.
Yep.
So,
so do you want to show the fix for this one before we move on? That might be the best.
Except for I would want to take apart the muslin for the correct one and show people.
I can do that real quick.
No, because I want to put that one
you
back
have to
on.
put that one back on
Yeah.
first.
So we'll come back to it.
Okay.
Just know that this one, it means the crotch curve is not scooped out enough. It means
this
the crotch curve doesn't go out enough before it curves up for my body. Okay. All right. Let me put the other bad pair on.
And we'll check for your questions in a minute. So if we're saying anything that doesn't make sense or it's bringing up other questions for you, just let me know.
I think we're going to have to scroll up to see the questions.
Yeah.
It's displaying that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll finish going through these fit issues and then we'll start looking at questions and we'll start showing you the fixes.
Yep. Okay, you want to do the back?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so again, this pair is not terrible in the front, and that's by intent, because what I did here, y'all, was I made these muslins like purposely to not fit me, but I was only messing with the back. So I left the front pattern piece the same on all of these. And you can see that like it's generally in the right place. The crotch seam is generally where it should be. Are you ready? Done working with that nightmare in the back?
What's the... Okay. So I'm not sure, is this the...
Did I put that on the wrong pair? Nope. No. This one needs a crotch extension, but the scoop is okay.
That's why the scoop looks fine.
Okay. So, as compared to the other one, why don't you explain that? This one, the curve of the scoop is long enough, but...
So you can see that the part that's on her actual butt looks okay. So when you see the difference between looking at how the crotch curve is working plus the crotch length or the extension that Melissa just mentioned is where the issues are on your body. So you can see here there's no weird lines, but here there are. So this part basically the way that you can diagnose this is to mess with your muslin. So if you kind of pull it so that you can see, give yourself a little more ease there.
If you alter it so that you
pull it from the front,
pull it from the front, like that should have improved it. Probably.
It did improve it. So what she essentially
the front
did
is
there,
bad now.
right? So just ignore the front, but you can do that to see what do I need to do to the back pattern piece to make it look like that on my body. And what she did was essentially give herself more room, more length in that back crotch curve. And we'll show you how to make that adjustment. But that, you see, that fixed it. So that's what she'll need to do to the pattern piece.
And when we talk about length, we're talking about that pulling it around. That added length down here. It did not add the length up here. Adding more length here isn't going to fix this issue. Like just raising that part, it's not going to fix what's going on here because I need the length here on this pair.
And we know that because of the drag lines.
Right.
So if she actually needed length, this part would have been
I'll
fine,
show them what it looked like
but
if I
then
needed
it would have
length
just been pulling down up there. Okay.
So let me put these on backwards and show you what happens if you have like just a too short crotch curve in the back, like where you need the length at the top. So this would be way too short.
Yes. Okay. So here you can see,
like, you
even
can't
though
even pull it
right
up.
here it's actually not as bad as as when these were on the other way around. So right here it's not as bad, but she does not have, like, it won't even go anywhere near her waist. So yeah. So here the first thing you would need to do is to add that length. And this is probably a good time to mention that just like with anything else, pants are especially important to make one change at a time, and you want to make the changes from the top down.
Yep.
So if you need to add that length to the rise, you do that first.
Right. You get it to your waist first,
get it
and
to your
then
waist.
you can start seeing like what else is going on.
Your waist or wherever the pants are supposed to hit,
Which
like high hip.
You know, none of these are hitting me at the waist, but that's this design of this pattern is supposed to sit below your waist.
Yeah.
So. All right.
Should we get some adjustments, or
yeah, let's unbase these real quick. I'll start doing that on camera and just talking here.
Okay.
Can you scroll that up so that we can see?
See about questions.
And actually,
Sorry,
don't
I'm walking
unbase the good pair yet because we want to.
Which one's the good pair?
Do we want to go back to that pair? Like to show them again? Here's how it's supposed to fit, or no?
Sure. I just don't know which one that is.
It has a 1 on it.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody asked about the wall storage system.
Yeah, every time I do a video, people ask about this. This is just a shelf from IKEA. They used to be called Expedit, and I think now they're Calex is the name of it.
I think that's right.
And these inserts down here came from IKEA too. You can buy them as accessories in that same.
And they have like baskets. IKEA has a ton of things that will fit in this exact space because they have so many of.
Yes. Okay, so I basted these together, and that's why the thread is just pulling out so easily. And then we're gonna compare the back crotches. I think we will have to unbase the side seams and the inseam.
Okay, so don't take one though apart. That's one.
Yeah, that's one. And because I made these on purpose wrong, it should be fairly easy to see when we switch here, like what the issue was with each one. So let's have just the backs. Okay, here's what the back looks like from the pair that needs an extension here. And actually, I think we do need to take...
Just to compare.
Yeah, to compare them. And there are a bunch of other pants fitting things that could happen. The reason I'm showing you these two in particular is these are the most likely and most common adjustments that you would need to make. It's kind of like when you're making a top, if you can get the shoulders and the bust to fit, everything else kind of works.
Or at least as easy.
Yeah, or at least, fits more closely. It's not that much more alteration. With pants, if you can get the crotch curve right, the rest of it kind of starts falling into place. Or at least will not fit as badly once you get that curve correct for your body. And it makes sense because with a top, you are looking at curves here that you are fitting, and they're different on everyone. And on pants, generally you're looking at curves here that are different for everyone.
Okay, inseam. Weird, I think this is... Once you take the side seams apart, it's kind of hard to figure out. Okay.
By the way, these muslins that we're unsewing right now, the coach sewed them all up for me yesterday.
Aw, thanks, Coach.
All right, I think once I get these down, I'm gonna put them here and I'll move the camera.
Okay.
And you can talk about what we're seeing as differences between them.
Okay. I'm not sure if I took apart the right one. Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is number 2. Are we gonna let's look at fronts first, and then.
Well, the fronts are the same on all three of these.
Right.
I used the exact same front,
So
and not having the correct curve in the back caused all of them even to fit differently in the front, which is what happens. Okay, that I think is the front. Okay, here's the good back.
Okay, this one has marks, and I'm not sure if they're intended to, or if it was just.
We'll just do it this way.
Okay.
So I've got the others laying anyway. We'll do it. We'll make them lay that way.
Okay.
Okay.
So I can adjust this down.
Can you get it to where we're seeing it?
Yep.
Okay.
There we go. We can see it. Yep.
Okay. So this is the pair that fits me. And you can see there's actually, it's almost like an L shape curve that I need in the back there to accommodate my figure. Can we move this? I'm looking at the screen. Can we move this even closer and flatter? I think it will be easier for people to see. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay.
We get it at a good angle.
Yeah. Move it wherever it needs to go.
Yeah. There we go.
All right. It's my arm on screen. Okay, so hopefully I'm letting this catch up for everybody. You can see it's got a pretty prominent curve there. And this is the pair that, the first wrong pair that I tried on. And I'm actually going to put the wrong pair on bottom because you'll be able to see this easier. The crotch curve was not scooped out enough. So this fabric here, remember these pants looked way too tight on me. And this fabric here, this was actually making them look too tight. They're the same width here to here. It's just that I needed to come in and scoop that out a little more.
This was the pair of pants that had all of the, like, the insane number of drag lines on the back of Melissa's thigh at the bottom of her butt pointing straight at her crotch. So it looked like they just absolutely wouldn't fit in there, even though when we looked at the sides of the pants, they fit fine and they actually had ease. So this is what we were talking about in terms of crotch curves not necessarily being intuitive, because to give more room in the pants, you actually cut out fabric.
Right. So you're taking fabric away, but what you're doing is you're creating more room for your body this way. And like actually here. So you can see, like, once that crotch is scooped in correctly, I've got that much room for my rear. When the crotch is not scooped in correctly, I've only got this much room.
That's a good way to show it.
Okay, and then let's look at the other bad pair. This is the pair that needed the crotch extension.
Right.
So this pair, like, it looked okay on my rear, but
this one's the one that would look okay only in the back or the front, depending on how we arranged it. Right, this is the one that I had, like, if I pulled it towards the front, it would look bad in the rear. If I pulled it towards the back, it would look bad in the front. And you can see why. Right here, there's another 3/4 inch extension on the pair that fits me. So I needed another 3/4 of an inch here as opposed to this pair. Now you can see the scoop's the same. So, you know, it was creating room, but not quite enough room for my whole body. Like, it was either enough room for the back if I stole a little bit from the front, or enough room from the front if I was stealing some from the back, but not the total. When you sew the pants front to the pants back, the total width was not enough. This is also commonly something that you might do if you just, I do this because my weight distribution in my thighs is towards the middle. So I have, you know, the bigger inner thighs necessarily than the outer. So this is a lot of times what I do to give myself more room at the inner thighs too. So depending on, you know, it can affect several different things. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that you want to make sure of is what we were showing you whenever Melissa had these on. You figure out where you want to add this in the front or the back by figuring out, you have to feel the muslin and see where that inseam is sitting on your body.
Right.
So it should be in the middle. It shouldn't be pulling back towards the back or the front. So if you get the front looking right, feel for where that inseam crosses, and if it's sitting too far to the front, then you'll know that the front is really what needs more room versus the back.
Right. So it could be your thighs, it could be the front, it could be the back. You kind of pull them around. And what Susan was saying earlier about fit from the top down. First, you make sure you have enough length here. And let me grab. So when I tried on one of the pairs backwards, here's the front of the pants, and you can see how this meant that I had not enough room right there. Mm-hmm. So first you get that. Like, you get this length that goes from your butt all the way up to your waist. The next thing you do is you make sure this scoop is correct. Okay, so that's the thing you want to fidget with first. And then if it's still, like, this will fit you pretty close. Like, it will be almost there. That's when you start adding a little bit to the front or the back and looking at that point of the crotch. So we're going from the top down when you're fitting, and one thing at a time.
Definitely, because I have seen very minor changes right here and right here make major differences in fit. We're talking 1/4 of an inch.
Yes.
Scooped out here or added to here.
Yes.
And it can affect things that you don't necessarily assume it will affect. So I know that, you know, sometimes people don't do the one thing at a time when they're working on tops, and they've done it a gazillion times. This is really a one thing at a time type of fitting activity. And, you know, once you get it right, I mean, you'll be surprised at how much you can take that crotch curve and learn from other things on other pants patterns too. So
now you might be thinking to yourself, you want to move the camera so we can see me again. You might be thinking to yourself that, hey, how do I even know where to start? Like, what if this pattern, I made a muslin and it's just terrible, and I've been fitting for 3 hours, and like I have no idea anymore where the curve is. So I'm going to show you a trick that everybody can do at home. Can you hand me that?
Yeah.
All right. This is a piece of foil. This is just a regular
very
piece
high
of
tech.
foil. High tech. Everybody's got this in their pantry, right? I cut off a long length of foil, and then I rolled it up and kind of like squished it till it's pretty firm. It'll hold its shape. And you just do this. And you kind of mold it to your body. Make sure that like the back isn't falling out.
Mm-hmm.
You actually want to mold it to your body. I like to take
like
my
as
fingernail.
close as jeans would be fitting.
Right,
like,
as close as jeans would be fitting. I like to take my fingernail and kind of dent where the front crotch point should end. And then when you take this off, like you've got a good Let me see if I can turn it. This is a good pair. So when you take it off, you've got a good idea of how much horizontal room you need. Like you can see, this is actually pretty darn close to that seam line. It got dented here, and that's just because of the foil. But like, this is giving me a pretty good idea of, I need a scoop that's going to look like this. And in fact,
you can also see how much more is in the front, in the back than the front.
Right,
that
you
way.
can see, yeah.
So you can teach you things about your body.
Yeah, because I got it done. Now, it's not perfect, you know, because, like, you know, it will reform itself. You can also actually see something here because it's higher in the back than these pants. If my pants were to go higher, I actually sort of need like an S-shaped curve there, or else I'm going to need a lot of darts up here. And that's because for me, it's typically called a sway back adjustment, but a lot of times it's sort of like, that's a misnomer. It's kind of like a full bust adjustment. Does not necessarily mean that you have big bust. It means that your body increases very quickly from where it is small to where it is big. And the same thing with mine here. Like this is not a lot of length between where I'm really small at the small of my back to where my butt is the fullest. So that's a neat little trick that'll kind of give you, oh, okay, maybe that's what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
Let's see, do we have any other, well, here, put the camera on me so I'm not like staring at
I actually see you talking, and
yeah,
I'll look
see me
for
talking.
questions.
And then let's see if we have any more questions that we want to answer while we're live. I think one question I'm going to anticipate here is, we were talking about the back, because like I said, that's the most common adjustments. However, the front, especially if you started to get more of a belly because of your figure type or your age or whatever, you'll start to see a lot of those same issues in the front, and the fix is the same. So if you're seeing like those pulling lines like this coming up towards the front crotch, you can lengthen the front crotch, you can scoop out the front crotch more and give yourself more room from front to back. And you might need that. It might depend on your figure. My front crotch, as we saw on the foil, once it scoops, it comes kind of straight up. Yours might not. Yours might scoop up and then kind of go at an angle. And if that's what you need, then that's what you need. That's, what your pants need to do for your body, and we're all about fitting your body, not changing your body.
So I'm not seeing anything. This is one of those things that, it can be really helpful to look at on paper. So if any of you are playing around with your pants patterns and have a muslin or something that you're not sure about how to fit, we're focused on Oceanside in a group this month that we can help with that. So isn't it Oceanside this month?
I thought that was, I don't remember. I would have to look. Too many things in my head. But I have actually linked in the top of this video too, if you're considering buying some pants. These are the 4-size pants pattern. They have the pants length and like a capri length, and as you can see, you can actually turn them into shorts too. There's just not a cutting line for that. But I think you have a couple pairs that you've made from that.
I love 4-size shorts.
Come on, you're like halfway on the screen, yeah. So yeah, the 4-size pant pattern and the Oceanside pants pattern are in there, and that one does have a shorts length included. And the link that I put in also has some sale details for stuff that's running through May 29th. So there's some deals that you can get if you're looking at those patterns. And then of course in our group, which is facebook.com/groups/blank-slate-patterns, you can come and post questions and pictures, and one of us is usually around, checks in, once or twice a day, and we can help answer some of those fitting questions in there too.
Yep.
Okay, well, I hope you guys have a great Memorial Day weekend. We're going to sign off for now.